There are probably a few weirdos out there who don't know what the World Bank is, or think that it's just some made-up place in the Harry Potter series. But wait. All hope is not lost for those of you who have zero clue about this important organization. Here is my fail-proof guide on what the World Bank is, how it affects the global economy, and why it's important to you and your investments. World Bank, what is it? As a global financial institution, the World Bank aims to assist poor countries in their quest for economic development. The bank's primary role is to provide development assistance to nations with middle and low-income populations. The World Bank has set a deadline of 2030 for achieving 17 of these goals. In their mission statement, the top two are mentioned. For starters, we need to reduce the number of people on the planet who are surviving on less than $1.90 a day to fewer than 3% of the global population. The second goal is to boost global prosperity by boosting the incomes of the poorest 40% of the world's population. Important lessons to learn. In order to support developing countries, the World Bank lends money as well as providing guidance and research. Founded at Bretton Woods, the World Bank and the International Monetary Fund both serve international governments. Since its inception in 1945, the World Bank has grown to include 5 other cooperative institutions, collectively known as the World Banks. World Bank offers a wide spectrum of research-based thought leadership for the global economy as well as a variety of proprietary financial assistance, goods and solutions. In order to improve society and economy, the World Bank's Human Capital Project aims to help countries invest in and develop human capital. Acquainting yourself with World Bank policies. The World Bank offers financial and technical assistance to governments all over the world. The bank sees itself as a unique financial institution that aims to alleviate poverty and promote economic growth by forming alliances with like-minded organizations. The World Bank provides low-interest loans, zero-interest credits, and grants to governments that meet the World Bank's eligibility requirements. Global education, healthcare, public administration, infrastructure, and private sector development all benefit from debt borrowings and cash injections. Policy advice, research and analysis, and technical help are also provided by the World Bank. It provides public and private sector clients with guidance and training. An overview of the World Bank's activities. To help developing countries, the World Bank offers finance, guidance, and other resources in the areas of education, public safety and health. The World Bank frequently collaborates with states, organizations, and other organizations to support development projects. The Human Capital Project. With the Human Capital Project, established in 2017, the World Bank is assisting developing nations to better equip their individuals to be productive members of society and active participants in their economies. Investing in education, healthcare, and social safety nets will lead to a stronger economy with a healthy and vibrant population of adults. Governments should invest in quality, affordable childcare to help promote and improve child development, raise the number of women who have access to better career prospects, and boost economic growth, among other things, as described in the Human Capital Initiative. Several areas of attention have been recognized by the World Bank to help increase human capital globally. The Human Capital Index, measurement and research, and country involvement. The Human Capital Index was launched in October 2018 and quantifies a nation's investments in its human capital, focusing on health and education investments. Using the index, leaders may see what they're missing out on by not making adequate investments in their employees' human capital. It is not only human capital that is measured by the World Bank, but its educational and healthcare institutions as well. For example, it helps people figure out whether or not to continue a practice or to change it. It's also useful for figuring out how best to distribute available funds. In order to deal with the issues that threaten human capital, a country must use a whole government strategy. Together, the country's leaders and influencers work to reduce poverty and increase the overall well-being of its citizens. To support the National Immunization Campaign. The National Immunization Support Project for Pakistan was approved by the World Bank in April 2016. An estimated $377.41 million will be spent on this project, which seeks to improve the provision of immunizations for infants and toddlers aged 0 to 23 months. To better distribute vaccines to those who need them, the project consists of a series of 5 components. For the initial part of the process, we need to set up a governance structure that includes a logistical, monitoring, and evaluation system. Another component is performance planning and alignment of qualified personnel. As part of the third component, Pakistan's inhabitants are made aware of and encouraged to participate in the program, as well as how their school curricula relates to it. In order to disseminate vaccines more extensively and increase the supply chain for vaccinations, the fourth component is necessary. Another important aspect of the program's expansion in research and development is its fifth component. Prepare for the future by increasing your knowledge base. Children's school preparedness and secondary education effectiveness in Kyrgyz Republic communities were the goals of the Learning for the Future project, which was launched in 2012. Early childhood education and secondary education are two parts of a larger endeavor to improve educational outcomes for students. A total of 20,000 children will be enrolled in the program's 500 community-based kindergartens. The project funds a training program for 500 new teachers and provides digital materials to supplement current learning resources in order to improve education. Students' cognitive and non-cognitive abilities are also assessed as part of the project. International Monetary Fund. The World Bank is not a bank, but rather a non-profit institution. As a result, its financials are not comparable to those of traditional financial organizations. As a part of the organization, there are four sectors: International Development Association, the International Finance Corporation, and the Multilateral Investment Guarantee Agency. It is estimated that India has received $39.58 billion in World Bank financing as of 2019. Low and middle-income nations with a good credit rating can borrow money from the IBRD, the World Bank's predecessor. 10 as of June 30, 2021. The International Bank for Reconstruction and Development had net interest revenues of $2.4 million and allocable earnings of $1.2 million. It had an equity-to-loan ratio of 22.6% at the time of this writing. The IDA provides interest-free loans to the world's most impoverished countries. With an adjusted net income of $394 million and a deployable strategic capital ratio of 30.4%, the World Bank finished its fiscal year on June 30, 2021 with a profit that was higher than expectations. For the benefit of developing countries, the International Finance Corporation lends money and gives advice to the private sector. The World Bank made a net profit of $4.2 million and a total comprehensive profit of $5 million for the fiscal year ending June 30, 2021. Capital utilization ratio was 67%. To sum it all up, MIGA provides insurance for investments made in the world's poorest countries, thereby assisting in the reduction of poverty and the enhancement of human rights. MIGA reported net interest revenues of $81 million for the fiscal year ending June 30, 2021. A total of $30.5 million in IBRD loans, $23.9 million in interest-free loans or credits, and $12 million in grants were dispersed by the World Bank in fiscal year 2021. The World Bank's history. The Bretton Woods Agreement, which was obtained by the United Nations in the final days of World War II, led to the creation of the World Bank in 1944. There were various components to the Bretton Woods Agreement, including the founding of the World Bank, the creation of the International Monetary Fund, and the establishment of the International Monetary Fund. Both the World Bank and the International Monetary Fund were established with similar goals in mind and have been working toward them ever since. Reconstruction efforts in Europe and Asia need funds from the World Bank and the IMF when they were founded. The Bretton Woods Agreement's central monetary system was superseded by the World Bank and IMF. The Bretton Woods International Monetary System was put on hold in the 1970s by President Nixon. World Bank and International Monetary Fund operations continued to prosper even after the collapse of the Soviet Union. Washington, D.C. is home to the World Bank and the International Monetary Fund. World Bank employees can be found at over 170 of the bank's global locations. Despite its name, the World Bank is not a bank in the classic sense of the word. With the purpose of meeting the capital needs of countries around the world, the World Bank and its subsidiary groups operate independently and develop their own financial aid packages. As a contrast to the World Bank, the International Monetary Fund is set up more like a loan fund. Because of their diverse structures and product offerings, the two entities can offer a wide range of financial lending and finance support options. Additionally, each organization has a number of diverse roles to play in the global economy. The International Monetary Fund. A single entity, the World Bank has grown into a group of institutions, the World Banks, which are together known as the World Bank Group. The International Bank for Reconstruction and Development, an agency that lends money to middle-income countries, is the first of these organizations. The International Development Association is the World Bank Group's second organization, which grants interest-free loans to governments in developing nations. The private sector is the focus of the third institution, The International Finance Corporation, which offers investment funding and financial advising services to developing countries. For foreign direct investments in developing countries, the Multilateral Investment Guarantee Agency is the fourth part of the World Bank Group. International investment disputes are arbitrated by the International Center for Settlement of Investment Disputes. Frequently asked questions. What is the World Bank's purpose? Funds, advice, and research are provided to poor countries to assist them improve their economies as well as fight poverty through the World Bank. Who is in control of the World Bank? The World Bank is not owned by any individual, organization, government, or nation. The Board of Governors represents the countries that are members of the organization. In addition to making decisions on the organization's direction, this board also names the organization's executive directors. In addition to overseeing the bank's operations and finances, the executive directors approve loans. The day-to-day operations of the company are handled by the president and his staff. What sources of funds does the World Bank utilize? Debt securities, such as bonds, are used to raise money for the World Bank from wealthy countries and other sources. The World Bank is located in which nation? As a global institution, the World Bank's headquarters are located in Washington, D.C., but it has offices in more than 170 nations. Do you know who is in charge of the World Bank's CEO position? President David Malpass is in charge of the World Bank. The board of directors of the institution is divided into 4 sections, one for each department of the World Bank. It is the responsibility of each board to keep tabs on the activities of the industry it represents. Both the International Development Agency Board of Directors and the International Bank for Reconstruction Board oversee the activities of these segments. If you are planning on investing money anywhere in the world, then you need to become familiar with the World Bank and their impact. You should also be sure to understand their policies regarding investing in the different countries around the globe. The better familiar you are with these policies and their history of helping those in need, the more successful your future investments will become. Were you aware of the World Bank and their role in the global economy? Do you have any additional information that others should know about this topic? Let us know in the comments section below or join the conversation on Twitter. Be sure to like and subscribe for more content to transform into smart money.